Excellent. Good evening. This is David.
Good evening,
Welcome.
everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. I just wanted to fit in.
That was excellent.
You did just fine.
Do you what was the rest of that line was would you care for any wine? I think it was thank you, but I've already dined. It was,
I was going more for a vampire-ish type deal.
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Like I said,
that's what he's quoting.
That
Yeah.
was the
Okay,
line.
I
Yeah,
don't know the line.
yeah,
All
that's
right.
from Count Dracula. Okay, where's my notes? There we go. Excellent. Was everyone able to access the agenda?
I am currently accessing.
Excellent. Excellent.
So just as a general note, do we want to post any links to stuff or whatnot into our new core group, or?
Sure. What I would like to do is move this folder that I've been using on my Google Drive over to one that we're using in the Google Suites, so that it's one accessible easily to everyone, but also in the core group. But I'd like to this folder, in as much as it will contain governance topics, I want to limit it to the core team.
Okay.
So add the FPVFC email addresses, Josh. I guess that's what we need to do.
Well, we've got the admin one. The main Pathfinders group is based underneath that admin address, and
Okay.
I know that's the big one. Both me and Dan and AJ have all been working out of.
Cool.
Okay. Any questions or discussion before I dive into the agenda?
Nope.
Okay. Let's see. I'm showing Dan, Josh. We're recording, I see. Thank you, Dan. AJ, Chad, and Stephanie. Just teasing, Dan. It's my New York nature to be sarcastic, meant in good fun. Okay. The articles and bylaws, I have a as of later last night, I had have the comeback from the attorneys on both an update on the bylaws and the articles of incorporation. I will read them with a very carefully tomorrow, and then my objective is to get going. This is taking weeks, but the objective is to line a number of things up that I've noted below to make sure that we are ready for an overall submission on January 2nd, 2019. As you can scan down to the schedule, I want to make sure that Chad is okay with the documents. So once I've edited them and given the core team an opportunity for review, as I said, they are out there in the in this same folder. I want to make sure that we have all the other things that we need to do, and we're not waiting and saying, oh my gosh, yeah, we need it. It's the 2nd of January, and we forgot we needed to submit a article of incorporation to state of Virginia, and there was one other submission that I'm not recalling prior to the IRS submission of the 1023 easy. Then, as I tried to put together the items that at the launch, which as a best estimate right now is the end of January, I want to make sure that we're launching the website, that we are attaching merchandise to the website, so that we're pointing over to our merchandise that we want to offer. We want to launch a press release, and my thought is that it would be prudent to create over the interim period a 30-day plan that says, okay, so what is it that we want to achieve in the first 30 days that we're in existence? And some of this is what I've been thinking about over the last week or so is if I were a member of the FPV community and someone said, oh, have you heard about this FPVFC? Why would they care? And what is it that we would want to be known for? And what is our elevator pitch? The elevator pitch being if you have 30 seconds to tell someone, this is what we're doing, this is what we're about, this is why we exist. You got 30 seconds, what would you say? And so I have found that if we lay down, all right, this is what we want to accomplish, it helps us focus what are the priorities. Any reaction or comments? I see some, let's see, I think that was that Josh helping me on some edits?
No, I put something in the wrong spot, but that's okay. I can come
nope.
back to it later.
Okay, no problem. Questions, comments on that so far?
No, I think it's great. I think even additionally to the 30-day plan, we should do like a 30, 60, 90. So
Yep.
And just keep updating that and pushing it out and hitting those key mark goals.
I'm completely with that. That's the way I think, and yeah. So I'll sign up for that.
Yeah, being vision forward, I think straight out of the gate will really help us in the long run.
Yeah, and it's the whole idea that okay, we're a nonprofit, so that means our reason for existence, first and foremost, is to help the community, and the financial success of the organization is secondary. And as I've mentioned, that's very unusual for me. It's so it's new learning, and it's interesting. Okay, more to that in a little bit. Probably most of you have scanned down through the first section. I contacted Sean and asked him if he was interested in working with FPVFC. And he said that he implied, it was a vague response, and he implied that it had been thrown out of the group. And as you see, I've noted here, while this is inaccurate, it conveys that he no longer wishes to work with us. And my view is our door's open, and it's open within our code of conduct, which is why we asked him to step out of leadership, but we were interested in his participation. But I guess he's not, and I'm happy to talk. If anyone has any questions or concerns about that, let me know. I'm happy to talk to you about it. And if you would like a conversation, or if there are any questions here in an open group, I'm happy to entertain that as well. Okay, well, next topic was the elevator pitch. Yeah, how would we explain what FPVFC does for the FPV community? How can we do that in 30 seconds? So in my opinion, we advocate for the FPV pilot to maintain the privilege of flying FPV outside of designated flying areas. To me, this is why, Stephanie, the message that you charged the creative folks with, freedom for free, just to me hits absolutely squarely on, and of course the naming of the group, Freedom Coalition. So it's and it's I've seen across this group, and delighted to see it, that we are working to maintain a privilege. This is not a right to airspace. So that is, to me, right. It's exactly the right sentiment. Oh, looks like Dan and I got the same same typo simultaneously. So this is, let's keep playing with this. Anyone have any reactions to this? And so I've subordinated things like education, and we're a hub for resources. And so this is our cause celeb. And that's what we're trying to think about when on the elevator pitch. Why is an elevator pitch important? It's important because when we're talking to folks in other organizations, when we're talking to the FAA, when we're talking to press, getting this type of couple of sentences just beaten into our memory so that it's always there. It allows us to do a couple things. One, we get out the most important key points when we're talking to people outside of the group, and it gives us time to think when we're talking to people where we're being put on the spot about any other topic. You know, this is the party line. This is like you know, it may sound a little cliche, but it helps drive home a common and consistent message. And it doesn't have to be this message. This is just my first pass at it, but the idea to create an elevator pitch is very effective.
Excellent idea. I think that's definitely needed, especially just for off the cuff. Like, what are you guys doing? And
Ooh,
we can.
yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, that comes up on Discord all the time.
Yeah, it does.
Good. Yeah, and to be able to be conversational about it. But this is so we hit it. This is the first bullet. Then bang. Whatever. If this is what we agreed to, fine. We're here to make to help maintain the privilege of flying outside of designated flying areas. What's that mean? Well, the AMA and FAA appear to be doing a great job of making sure that the AMA flying sites around the country are safe, and that's they're going to be okay and not challenged by the FAA. We're not sure about flying outside of those sites that the AMA has or a CBO has designated as a fixed flying area. We want the ability to move around, gain clearance, and then get the approval to fly in those areas. And then we can say, and by the way, we're also doing things like education, and we're a hub for resources, etc. Then the other is, I was thinking of work products, and this flows into the same idea. So yeah, all right, okay. So I have that as your mission. What do you guys, but what are you doing? Like what's your output? What's, so great, you got this coalition formed. So what? The so what is, well, we're going to collaborate with the FAA to ensure that our community has access to non-designated flying areas. Well, what does that mean? Well, we're going to get clarity on what really the law is and the regulations, so that you don't have to guess and you can't be conned by people trying to take your money for signing up for FAA registrations when for more money than is asked by the FAA. We're going to create education materials. We're going to create a list. We're going to create swag that helps embody and communicate the spirit that we've got, not only of the FPVFC, but of FPV in general. And it should be an opportunity where we get people together, both virtually and physically. And then, to steal a line from Chad's book, it's about entertainment, education, and inspiration. So this is just, again, I really welcome edits on this. I'm not, this is not a declaration. My way of thinking is write it, welcome comments, and edit it, take things off, add, delete, change. But this is how I think. So, and again, it's not me drawing a line in the sand. This is just to try to stimulate conversation.
No, absolutely, and I'd be happy to work at it a little bit. I mean, that's my area of expertise, so
Awesome.
I can definitely take some stabs at it.
Awesome. And the obvious is that this, of course, ties back into, so are we going to, which one of these should we work on in which priority, 30, 60, 90? So I think we're thinking very much along the same lines.
Yep.
I had then this item 4. One of the things that I was thinking about is, one of the guys in Rotor Riot has a passion about trying to make things easier for newcomers, and I love that. And one of the things that that we know is that soldering tiny wires is frustrating to a lot of newcomers. and it not only frustrating, but if I could just have a couple of cables that would tie these silly little boards together, my life would be a lot easier. And the a great example is the newbie drone. What are they? B-Brain V2, and their little micro. I don't know if any of you've built any of those, but it takes like 15 minutes and you plug it together and it flies. It's like, oh my gosh. So this is a desire to try to, how can we get things simpler and simpler and simpler? And one of the benefits of and I won't say disinterested, but an objective third party, which I think we would assert we are, is that we can moderate or arbitrate across competitors. And so if you think about board manufacturers, flight controller manufacturers, why would they create or submit to a standard that would connect to a set number of VTXs or ESCs and minimize their potential sales or give somebody else a leg up in selling additional flight controllers? Whereas if you are working across a number of vendors, and this is just an example, but I've done this in the tech industry where we've even formed a consortium across competitors so that we have someone with a neutral, there's neutral territory that literally holds the intellectual property. It helps bring the parties together, documents, and everyone agrees to the standard. And timing is critically important so that everyone gets a level playing field on an even on being able to release and bring new technology to the market. So just this is brainstorming on we might be able to help here in addition. It's also licensing intellectual property is not a bad way to make money as well.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with that. I don't know
Absolutely.
how to do it, but definitely the first time I replaced a camera on mine, I couldn't believe why isn't there a standard for the way that these things are done? And recently swapping out a 4-in-1, they have the little 4-in-1 ribbon cables, and the 4-in-1 I had was in the exact same order as my flight controller, but the one I replaced it with was in a different order.
Right. Yeah.
We're
And
all in the same
hopefully
order.
hopefully you didn't power it up and cook the electronics.
Yeah, it could have gone much worse, but I caught it before I did that.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, so if we
Yes.
can
Yeah, and
help out
so
with that, that would be great.
cool.
I think it would also bring a larger value to the vendors out there and the people that are creating the products. To be able to communicate. I mean, and Chad, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but between like Trappy and Rotor Riot or stuff like that, some of those competing views where you have that neutral third party to say, well, let's look at this objectively and try and come to a consensus on it. And I think that would bring a lot of value and help tie the community even closer together.
Right. It
Yeah,
also has
you
the
mean
benefit.
like a mediation service?
Well, yes, effectively you're mediating, but for a standard. And so the idea is that, you've got something in mind that you want to fix, and so one of the standards that if it's not hardening now, I would assert that it will be, and that is the Betaflight system programming interfaces that Helio Spring takes advantage of. And so it's absolutely brilliant on Helio's part to be able to create two processors and separate proprietary code from open source code, and then create an offering that cannot be cloned. And so, being able to mediate that standard is okay, Betaflight devs, you can't change this SPI anymore. We have to lock this down so that people can trust it, and then we'll help document it, and then you get it out in the community. So it tends not to be, some of the thoughts are quite technical, but then you quickly get away from technology and you help mediate the politics and the emotion. And it's also a blast to be able to sit at the table with all of the competitors. the insight because frequently what happens is once you gain a little bit of trust across the folks, there's a desire to create and to build that's pretty much innate in most engineers. Sound interesting, Chad?
Yeah, sounds very interesting.
All right.
I think, well, more so, I think it would be very helpful.
Yeah, and it also would help improve the technical cred of the FPVFC. And to me, you know, I'd be delighted, to have a contrast with the AMA. AMA old guys, they're my age and older, and they're not that technical. And then, what we're bringing to the table is, this is a technical, deep community that really wants to welcome, younger newcomers, uh, as all in the code, all along the lines of the code of conduct, and pushing and nurturing the whole notion of STEM as we go forward.
Yeah, it's like dragging. It's almost like dragging all the makers and the innovators and all that stuff into one room and saying, where can we come together?
Right.
And that's
Right.
awesome.
Right.
Yeah, and it's having everybody play nice. I think we really need that in this community right now. There's a lot of turmoil in various areas.
Right. And what
I think we
happens
need
is that you can agree to bash each other's heads in the market, but the idea is, look, in order to get these, to get a better customer acceptance, to get a broader, and faster and lower cost into the market, we need to work together in these areas. We need some standardization, and I think it can be very productive.
Yep, agree.
Cool. Okay. Let's see. On to marketing. Okay. So I realized this week that we have a Facebook group, and it dawned on me as I was looking at the last Wednesday. I was looking at the bottom of the website and thinking, oh my gosh, I haven't looked at our own webpage. If it comes across, yes, it's I'm participating. It comes across my feed, but I haven't gone to that group and tried to be communicative. So Stephanie and Josh have been quite active on that group. Thank you, and I commit to being more active and being positive and chiming in. What's the view? Is this helpful for the core group to say, yeah, we should make sure we all check that group out, answer questions, provide insight, keep reiterating the elevator pitch without being too preachy. Any, so what is too much? What's the recommendation for how we should treat that Facebook group?
I mean, personally, I've been, any major work that we've, kind of come to an agreement on, we've been dropping it on there. And so as a place to disseminate information, we were kind of posting the meetings up in there, but I'm still at this point, I'm not sure if we want these to be open meetings or just the core. So I haven't been posting anything from that perspective, but happy to do so, going forward. But that's been my primary role on there, and
Okay.
also answering questions and clarifying, like we dropped the FAQs on there, and there were a lot of questions when we did that.
Cool.
And answering those questions and interacting with the community from that standpoint. But for the most part, that's kind of been my limits on the Facebook group. But at the same time, I think we really need I think a lot of it is pending us going live, and from that standpoint, we can start doing fundraising posts and community gathering posts and all that kind of stuff. So I think there's a lot of room to grow there, but I don't know at what point we are right now that we need to be. I mean, we need to be active on there, but at what point how we can be active on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't normally get notifications anytime someone posts or joins the group or anything, because I'm not admin or anything, but I'll check it 2 or 3 times a day just to see if, if there's any new posts, if there's any questions, or anyone's posted anything that shouldn't be there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep my eye out, and frequently throughout the day.
Thank you, Josh. Okay, yeah. So part of this is being immersed in social media is new to me. I've been using email since 1980, predating most popular usage of email by a couple of decades. But embedding myself in social media is unusual. When you're working in mergers and acquisitions, you are discouraged from being very public. So um, anyone feel free if you see me going awry when I'm posting on Facebook or anything else, just let me know. I'm happy to take the input. Okay, Stephanie, I saw your note on moving on to merchandising. And things, it sounds like things are slowing down. You said at this time of year.
Yeah, it's kind of hit and miss right now, because everybody's either getting ready to go out of town, or they have work things that they're trying to tie up, or they're just busy with family stuff. So I'm not pushing the fly free independent art too much right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'll hit it really hard, after the first of the year. But the brand merch is simple. It's just plug and play with our logos and stuff like that. So that's not
Okay.
really, that
So
can be done.
So your
30 minutes.
take is that we should be able to have enough merchandise when we launch end of January to be able to have a nice splash when we announce the organization, there's merchandise and there's a nice representation. Sounds like
Absolutely. I'll have the brand merch ready to go. I mean, I can have that ready in 30 minutes.
yeah.
But
Okay.
as far as the first actual art, flash campaign,
Mm-hmm.
the fly free, I'm still waiting on submissions from that. So, and I have a few of my own personal designs that I can throw in for you guys to vote on should they fall short. But yeah, we'll be ready to go by the end of January for sure.
Cool. Well, we want to see your designs regardless of if we fall short or not.
True story.
Okay. Anything else on merchandising?
Not from me, no.
Okay. Code of conduct. Josh, thanks for the write-up. I like it. My markups are also in the same folder, FPVFC folder. If you had a chance to look at them, Josh, as I had mentioned in a chat, fair amount of red ink from my part.
That's okay. Like I said before, it's a team effort, so I don't take any criticism from red ink on my stuff. I'm used to it. So
Okay.
and I did go through and review the edits. Most of them are excellent. The only thing I kind of wanted to discuss was, the kind of, and I know I was probably a little heavy-handed, but I think we dialed it back a little too much in terms of people that we collaborate with. You know where I'm coming from?
I do completely. I was in there 2 or 3 times, and I pretty much removed it. And so, to me, if you're an organization member, or if you are staff, officer, board of directors, adhering to a code of conduct is a requirement. Period. If you're working with us if you're contractually collaborating, if you're a supplier, vendor, etc., you can be requested to honor the code of conduct. If you're simply collaborating with us and working on something with us, and that's where I was drawing the line.
Gotcha. Okay.
What's your take?
I mean, I would agree with you that people, I think, I guess people that we are paying to work for us, or if we're in some kind of business arrangement, I think they should be held to the same conduct.
Yes.
I do agree with the collaboration where it's kind of like, we can kind of hope you do. But at the same time, I just want to be very clear that I think what a lot of the people out there are missing from something like this is that people aren't being held accountable for their actions, and nobody is there to hold them accountable, you know.
Okay.
So
Yeah, and to me, one of the areas that I might have missed is to include volunteers, because if you volunteer to do work with the FPVFC, you you know you're you can be insured. You can be. I mean, there are all sorts of formal agreements that can happen. You can also be a member of the organization and as a volunteer, so you're almost a paid employee, but you're responsible. And I like adding volunteers to it because I think there is it's incumbent on us to hold volunteers accountable to the code of conduct, because that's going to be a point of tension when we mix in paid staff with volunteers. Right
correct.
now it's all volunteer.
Right.
So
Right.
maybe that's I can go back and make sure it has that feeling.
Okay.
Well,
Very good.
I totally agree with that too, and that's why I suggested a volunteer honor code, or an honor agreement. Something that kind of, it's not necessarily that it's more than the code of conduct, but it's just an acknowledgement that, hey, if you're a volunteer, we expect this from you. We're holding you to the standard because you're the voice in the face of the FPVFC when we're not all collectively together in Discord or on the Facebook group. If you're out talking about the organization, you need to know that you're being held to this standard as a volunteer. Members, it's kind of hit and miss, but with volunteers, I personally would like to see something in place where they understand that we're watching them and that they are being held to this standard.
Yeah, agreed. And I'd like to, so it my way, so how my translating that into action would be, yeah, we'll probably use the code of conduct verbatim, and then we may wrap it, put that a wrapper around it and hand to a volunteer that says, you agree to this, sign it.
Exactly. I mean, I know all of us are held to that standard.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even myself, I've dialed back a lot of my muchness that is normally me, just in an attempt so that, I don't project the wrong image, because, yeah, I'm in this. I'm in the middle of it. And people are starting to associate me with the organization more so than just, me, being a part of the community. And that's important to me. So yeah, I'm having to catch myself every now and then too, because I'm snarky and I'm sarcastic, and I'll whip in there really quick, but not as much of late. I'm doing better. I'm in recovery.
My name's Dave Messina and I'm a New Yorker. Yeah, I can relate.
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, so yeah.
There you go.
And I'm 5'2", so
Yeah.
I'm the mouse from the south. What are you gonna say, Mr. Dave Messina, huh?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. All right, good comments. And John,
Sorry to interrupt, Dave.
No, go ahead.
The other thing, kind of going back to Stymie's honor code, the one thing that isn't in here is, and I contemplated putting it in there, and I kind of hem and hawed back and forth, but is our staff, our members, our volunteers, how they portray the FPVFC, not just by the backgrounds and identities and respectful, but how they portray the brand, the organization to the public. Should we put that in here? Should we wrap that up into an honor code? I mean, where do we go with that, or do we even need to do that?
It can be done on a, I like the thought, and it can be done on a soft sell basis. So, as an introduction into the code of conduct, we can convey, this is what we do, this is the passion we have, this is what we stand for. So it's effectively some flavor of the mission. And then, oh, by the way, this is what we're going to hold you accountable to. And we ask you to sign the document on the bottom. So it's a soft sell on the on who and what we are and why we are. And that might be a way to approach that, because to take it explicitly would be to say, when you talk to someone on the outside, these are the words we want you to use. And I'm anxious that that's too heavy-handed and could be just taken badly, from a perspective of a lot of what we're trying to do is we're trying to earn the the
Respect.
value, the respect and the mission that we put forward. We're saying we're going to work with the FAA to in maintain the privilege of flying in non-designated areas. If we can get that done, that's huge. And then that will speak for itself. And it's like, we have done, we can point to how we got that done, and that, I think, will speak very loudly in terms of others um, conveying what we want in a mission.
Okay.
So I don't think there's more. Let's see. So we can add to the code of conduct. Our mission as an introduction to reinforce.
Showing a level of professionalism to be able to deal with organizations and government bodies, but also maintaining the ability to speak the language of the community, because our community does have a very unique vernacular.
Yeah.
And I think all of us are actually fluent in it, but we have to be able to kind of toggle between the two. Yes, I can be fancy pants over here with my suit and tie and sitting at a table, but I can also convey ideas and things that are going on behind the scenes to the community in a way that they're able to digest it and understand that we're not archaic, we're not um, it's democratic, but it's not so government, but it kind of is. So I mean, we have to be really careful how we segue between the two. But I think everybody that's in this group right now can do that. Like, we all have that ability without sounding like everybody's dad.
It's interesting. What comes to mind is when there's if any of you are coders, there's a great book on this called the Inmates Are Running the Asylum, and the author has a great premise that you want to create a persona of the users who are going to use your software product. And so we may want to create a persona of, what's the embodiment of FPVFC. It's the demographic is going to be pretty tight, probably between 30s and early 40s, knowledgeable, technically capable, and leaning toward type A and aggressive, curious, and willing to learn and to enjoying adrenaline rushes. Whereas if we were to do the same thing for the AMA, we would be it would be an older white guy, who's out of shape and enjoys building wooden balsa airplanes in his basement.
I'm dying over here.
You can't hear me, but I'm laughing so hard right now.
All right. So all I have to say is I'm in pretty good shape.
There you go.
I think you nailed it. The AMA, though. Yeah.
Okay. So the notion of a persona is it can be extremely useful, because even if so if we gave a name to a couple of the personas as we so there's Nancy Newcomer and Norm Newcomer, and then there's someone along the lines of Joshua Bardwell level of understanding. The guy's an RF engineer, so he better understand about antennas. So we've got
Joshua Bardwell is Joshua Bardwell. I don't
exactly
think
there's
there's
there's a
anybody else.
there's a persona, but he's he's awesome, and so and he's is a critical member of the community. So, but when you're the benefit of this is that if we think about, well, we're going to write a press release and we really want the primary audience to be this group of people. So is it for a newcomer, or is it who are we trying to address? Who are we trying to reach? And it can
Gotcha.
help because you build out a little bit of a backstory and have some fun with this. So one of the things that we've done building software, and this it's picked up around the world. As I say, if any of you are coders, it's the inmates are running the asylum. Very easy read. Okay. Is Dan still with us? I hope he is.
Yep, I'm still here.
Okay. Thank you very much for the review of the website this past Saturday. The website's awesome. I'm excited.
So that was great. I think everybody here except AJ who probably remembers Saturday morning when we went over the website tried to go over it with a fine-tooth comb and make some changes and some minor tweaks here and there. And then, yeah, I think we overall came up with some great stuff.
Good, and we didn't, we hopefully, we didn't throw it out and start over. Hopefully, I mean, I know
As Chad mentioned, it was some tweaking. We're
right
at the tweaking stage.
And I will try never to say the phrase, well, it's all, we have all the information here. It's simple. It just have to rearrange it. I will try to promise to never say those words because I've been the recipient of that too many times. So I know that changes can appear easy and be hard, and they can be hard and appear easy. So both sides. So I appreciate the updates and changes.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on that website where some of it is I just tossed it in there with no real thought of where and how it should go, and the opposite's also true. A lot of stuff put more thought into it, right?
Right.
But I think overall we did a great job on Saturday reviewing it, and I've gotten through I think everything on my possible so far at this time has been updated and changed on there. I see you're still working on your bio, right? And
I still have my action items. Yep, and that'll be easy. That should and you guys can have some chuckles about my bio. It's like, oh my gosh, this guy could be my grandfather.
I still have to go through the FAQs and get that lined out. So that's still pending. If you want to drop that in there. And I'll get that wrapped up by the end of this week. It shouldn't be too difficult. And then I also, as it relates to the website, I've dropped this in the chat a couple of times, but I'll drop it in the core chat. The branding website is done, or the style guide, I should say.
Yay!
So if you guys want to, it's only 4 pages, so if you want to take a second to go through that.
Yeah, it looks great. There's a lot of, you did a lot of work there.
Yeah, I did. And I kind of got sucked down the rabbit hole a couple of times, but I think it turned out good. So if you start at the top, or if you start at the link, it kicks you right to the logos. Describes how the logo should be used, both horizontally and vertically.
And this is on the website?
It's there, but it's not linked to anything. So if somebody needs it, like say Stymie's group, we can just give them the link. And
how do I find it?
I gave the link in the core group chat.
Okay, I will go back to the core group chat.
Pin that if you could, Josh, since you have that group.
Absolutely, and I need to give you guys all. Boom. Go.
Okay, where is this? Where is this go? Oh, there we go. Okay, good.
So,
one of the things that I'm looking for is placement on a page and use of other logos in the same vicinity. So we don't want people to say, the Rotor Riot FPV Freedom Coalition, and have it so close that there appears to be the same organization. Is that in here
Gotcha.
somewhere?
It is. If you scroll down, there's the logo treatments. So scaling, you have to do it proportionally. Don't skew the logo in any axis. Leave clear space around the logo. Do not put it directly at the edge of the medium or against other graphics or typography.
Yeah.
Do not add elements to the logo without board approval. Don't rotate it. And then size guides.
Love this. Okay. Is there also don't change it, don't dork with it. These are the logos.
Yeah, it's do not add elements to the logo without board approval.
Okay.
I think
or
dark with it
make
should be added just for reference.
don't make a mockery. No satire. No that will be construed as.
Yeah, I can definitely add that.
Yeah, and so Chad and I have very different views on one of the guys created a Woder Wyatt, and he created T-shirts on it. And it's Joe Stan, and then to his credit, any of the proceeds that he received from that he gave to charity. But I talked to him about it, and I said, we're a growing brand. We're trying to build this brand. That doesn't help. And he and I had a serious conversation about it, and I think he was offended. That's okay. This is serious. So I love this. This is
And then
use, placement, typography, video. Love it.
And if you go down to the bottom of the logo page, the logo icon, just the actual image itself, I did allow that to be rotated up to 45 degrees in either direction, but you can't turn it upside down. You can't go beyond that degree. So it allows us to put it on, different little branding things, be able to rotate it a little bit.
Yeah, because it upside down, an upside down flag means distress, so you don't want to imply things like that. Good. How did you know about this?
I've worked quite a bit. Actually, I went to art school for a lot of years. But branding was one of those things, and I've also worked with the companies I've worked for as part of branding their documents and developing that kind of stuff.
Nice.
So
nice piece of work.
But let's see. Little known fact: our web font Proxima Nova is actually a premium font, and if we want to use it, we have to pay for it. But I did find we don't have to pay for it for the website because we're already paying for it. But if we want to use it on any kind of other publications, we can't use it. But I did find
What's the price on it?
Well,
you found a cheap one that we can use instead?
I found a free one. So it's almost identical.
Right.
So
sweet. That's the one we're using.
We like free.
That's right.
And then on photography standards, and some of this can still be developed. I talked to Stephanie a little bit today just about, if there's like on our apparel, do we want logos in certain locations all the time, or like on the sleeve, or bottom of the neck or something like that. But we can come back to that once we kind of figure out what that's going to look like. But I did go on Teespring. I created a quick little, FPV branded shirt there. And
nice.
See how quick it is? It's so easy.
This is awesome.
And there's links to download all the logos at the bottom of each section. Download the fonts, download the video edition. So all that stuff's there.
Nice.
Did
Chad,
you say
still there?
Yep.
I did. I was wondering if you were able to glance over at this style guide.
Yep. I was looking through it.
Okay.
I think no, it's better than I've worked in marketing for probably 20 years, and it's probably better than anything we've ever created. So
nice piece of work. Thank you, Josh. Again, awesome.
Go team, go.
Okay. And it's awesome. Okay, nice. On to FAA Relationship. Love the idea. And so I saw a post, oh my gosh, the days are blurring. It was either yesterday or today, from AJ, where he's starting to take apart the FAA 5-year integration plan and identify areas and activities. And I thought, ooh, that's clever. And so as we the downside of that is, it's probably happening if we can read about it. But the upside is we didn't know about it, so let's try to intercept it. Intercept in a very positive manner in terms of approaching the FAA. How can we help? How can we be collaborative? Love to work with you on this. In addition to Josh, your idea on creating a contact list. So those are still work in process, and
So
I like that.
I just dropped the short list contact list that I created into the chat over there. And these are some of the key personnel. And the problem is getting direct emails to these people is extremely difficult. So I kind of had to go with the general groups that they function within, as well as their group or their division phone numbers. And a lot of these were taken. AJ gave me a document with a couple of folks on it, quite a few folks actually, and then I found a kind of hierarchy breakdown of the FAA, which helped me kind of pull some more out of it. But these are kind of the key people for what we do, both with UAS and rulemaking and accident prevention, and next gen. They're doing a lot of work with drone integration and stuff like that. So these are some of those key people. Now most of these are executive directors or senior advisors, but they're the big boys in the FAA that would have something that we could relate to them.
There are two names that come to mind, and I need to look up the names. One was the woman who presented on July 11 at the House Aviation Subcommittee, and she was representing the FAA, and obviously a higher up, but not didn't sound like executive director or too high up, so maybe approachable. The other is we have a contact in the Washington, D.C. office. His name is escaping me. I can dig it up. But he is the focal point for the UAV Advisory Committee, and then, of which we've submitted Chad's name as an applicant to join the group. So those might be good names, and I will get the names to you.
Excellent.
Okay, speaker and 7-Eleven House and advisory. Okay, excellent. Thank you.
So, Dave, are you done with?
I'm done with number 9, FAA relationship.
Okay.
Questions or any additions on that?
Not for me.
Okay. I've not looked at the wiki since last week, and Dan will try to edit the FPV. Okay. And I think it's still empty.
Yeah, Zoe has not had a chance to do anything with the wiki. Josh and I both gave her some options for some logos to use, and I think yesterday or the day before she mentioned, yeah, hopefully this weekend she'd have a chance to.
Okay, well, I understand she got a job, so bless her heart. Hess Systems is what I saw.
Yep, Hess and Beedra, and they're doing some kind of super secret project. It's pretty rad. She's under contract today, I think.
Great. So good for her. That's great. And so, if that takes her away from this, she's, if she's able to get some work and able to improve her health, that's fantastic. That's, well, penultimate.
And she's willing to relinquish any admin controls to us whenever we ask. I mean, we just have to ask her about that.
Yep. Good. So the other thing that struck me as I've been reading and researching, and as we look around. I mean, look at Oscar Liang's site, and there's a ton of what is FPV, what's an FPV quad. So there's a fair amount of how do you get started? What books and ebooks and things of that nature. What I'm suggesting is, I think we might be okay without a wiki for the moment. If we have resources with a number of links that say, "Hey, great write-up on what is an FPV quad," that I think could get us there pretty easily.
I did try to create a few things on there just to get the ball rolling of stuff that I didn't think really existed, and
Oh, cool.
in my own words. And I've found myself replying to a lot of comments on Reddit, like, "Oh, hey, I'm interested in FPV flying. How should I get started?" And so I sort of compiled what I've sent them in the past into a more well-written article that I put on there, sort of my suggestions for how to get started, about the first things you need to know about LiPo batteries so you don't start them on fire, and started adding a few other pages that sort of support those pages. Just really to get something there to get people to it.
Okay. Thank you. Awesome. Other points on the wiki? So yeah, I mean, if you're writing to it, then it will be useful.
Yeah, I think. I'm definitely down to help write some stuff on it. I just have to be careful and not use material that I've used before, just due to copyrights and stuff like that. But
plagiarism is bad. Yep.
Even when you're plagiarizing yourself. So, because I've written a couple of documents or articles for Get FPV, and they're pretty detailed. So it's hard for me to write. I'll just have to choose different topics. So I'm happy to help contribute to that. I think we really need to get that crowdsourced a little bit more. So,
Okay.
but I think you're right. I don't think there's a super huge rush for it, but at the same time, it just needs to be chipped away at little by little.
Okay. All right. Good. On to productivity tools. Stephanie, thanks for setting up of the Google Suite. I need to chat with you offline to ask about how do I set up, what's a smart way to establish a set of folders or someplace where we can have some storage space and set of folders that I can create and that we all can access and create for governance and agreements and things like that.
Okay, cool, yeah.
And sounds like you are interested in Flow. It sounded the Get Flow project management app.
I love that app so much. Like,
Yeah,
if I could be best friends with that app, I would be.
Okay. And so did you sign up for a trial, or did you just buy yourself a monthly license to start using it?
I had the trial. I think my trial's up in the next few days.
Yeah.
But it's only like $5 a month.
Right.
So I mean, that plus my email is only $10. So I mean, I think that's doable.
Okay. Well, yeah. So I mean, to me, that's absolutely a reasonable. And I mention it because, as you can see under item C, it's my objection, or not objection, my opinion that we should use some of the funds that we generate for productivity tools. I hope this group is okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I've been using Flow with Stephanie, so
Yeah.
I haven't been on there much this week because I was projects that weren't on the Flow, but I think we just need to get in that we need to add onto it. And that's my bad. I just generally use my ADD memory to remember everything I have to do, but
no, you can't do that. So trust me, that fantastic memory will start to erode as the years add up. So you're gonna need some electronic augmentation. Trust me.
Slowly raise his hand.
So, but yeah, I'm totally down with that. I mean, I think my trial's expiring here soon, but I don't mind the extra $5. That's not
okay. And I'm going to sign up as well. To me, it's I want to use it to for work here as well as with Rotor Riot. So
yeah, it's invaluable. I mean, the things that you can do, it was blowing my mind. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, the one thing it does not have is a a linkage. And so, I've got these 16 tasks, and the first 6 need to be serial, and then that group of 6 has to be complete before I start task 7. That type of relationship they don't yet have, and I have a hunch if they really need to add it, when they do add it, it's going to hammer their graphic ability to move stuff around really easily. So we'll see what happens with them. But yeah, to me, very usable, good product, and it's it's not so deadly complicated. If anyone has used CA Super Project in the past, that's a nightmare. Incredibly powerful, and only takes you a couple of months to figure out how to use it. Okay, that's wow. Look at that, 9:59. That's all I had. Open discussion topics.
Yes, I think I have something important to share.
Okay.
So, as everybody can see, Dave has definitely stepped up and not just helped with organization, but has helped become, very discerning in our decision making and very diligent about moving things forward. And thank you for that, Dave. And earlier this week, I asked Dave if he would be willing to take the president position. I will still remain, as a founder and CEO, however that gets structured in this nonprofit. But as far as moving things forward and really leading the charge, Dave has stepped up and done that. He's more than proven himself to me over the past year in his help with Rotor Riot and just about anything I've asked him for help in. So I'm very proud to that he accepted. So thank you, Dave. Yeah, so I think you guys have all gotten along just fine, and I think you see his leadership skills and ability, and he quite frankly has more time to focus towards this, and I'm very thankful for that.
Thank you. Well,
Terrific.
thank you, Chad.
Thanks for stepping up.
Boom.
So everybody can unmute and hit the
That was congratulations, by the way.
That was I was going to say. Well said. I got it. Okay. Thank you. And yeah, I'm. What's really coming into focus with me is I have been focused on it. We've got to get this off the ground from a governance perspective, and I'm trying to pay more and more attention to. Okay, we're going to get this approved, and then how do we? What is it that we're going to deliver? And so I'm pretty jazzed that we can make a difference, and I do have the time, and a couple of you also have the time, some time and more time, and I really appreciate that because the content that you all have been creating is just phenomenal, and that's great. I think we can do it. And so thank you, Chad. Thanks for the support and the trust to pick this up.
Absolutely. Ooh. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if I was on mute.
Yep, we got you. All right. Thank you. Anything else? Comments, questions? Oh, so we should a reminder on the so next the 19th I was unable to meet as I have a bank dinner, and I don't want to sign into a call at 9 p.m. With a couple of glasses of wine under my belt.
Oh, come on, why not? It might be a hoot.
It could be. I talk more than I do now. And then we were going to cancel on the 26th. Did we last week agree to changing to the 20th, or did we settle on that? I apologize, I don't recall.
I don't remember either.
Wait,
Yeah,
what was the question, Dave?
Did we move next Wednesday's call to some other time in the week?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think we changed it to Thursday. Let me double check.
Okay. Oh, we did. We did. There it is
Thursday.
on my calendar. Yes.
Oh wow, well, I missed that completely then.
Okay. So if that's okay with everyone, instead of the 19th, we're gonna do this call on 12/20, same bat time, same bat channel.
So okay,
Yeah,
so
sounds
20th
great.
will be good. All right, cool.
All right,
Yep,
and then we're
that's
gonna cancel the 26th.
Yep.
Yes.
Great. All right.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, everyone.
Hold on.
Last call for other topics.
Nope. I just appreciate you guys. Don't forget that.
Oh, thank you. It's
True story.
it's mutual.
All
All right. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very
right.
much.
Thank you
Night, you
guys.
guys.
Thanks,
Night.
everyone.
Take care.
Good night, everybody. Thanks.
Adios.